Good morning and welcome to the show, and thanks for waking up with us today. This morning we have Bill Kundo here in the studio. Bill works at Nation's Best Family Healthcare up here in Lynn Haven and out on the beach now as well. But Bill is a mental health counselor, and we're going to kind of get smart on what all Bill does out there for Nation's Best Family Practice there. Bill, welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure to have you on.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, when you think of a doctor's office, and I know Dr. Nation does this whole thing where he tries to, treat the whole patient.
Yes,
having
he does.
a mental health counselor as part of your practice is value added, I suppose.
It is, and it's very important part of the health picture, because as we find ourselves dealing with medical issues, it also impacts our mental, our spiritual, and emotional health too. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the adjustments that we have to make to our bodies require adjustments to our thinking, adjustments to our belief system, adjustments to our emotional reactions to things.
And now, why would somebody use your services? I mean, what kind of physical condition would I have to say, well, geez, I probably need to talk to a counselor to get used to this?
Well, one of the big ones we have is chronic pain. Mm-hmm. We also work a lot with your normal emotional problems, anxiety, depression, frustration. So
it's not just a pill,
No,
there's a whole other dimension to
there's a whole dimension to
health.
helping you adjust to changes in your life. And some of these are short-term changes, some of them are long-term changes. Some of them are dealing with the family members of patients, because it puts a lot of stress and emotional and physical requirements on the family to help care for people with chronic pains or chronic illnesses. And they need a supportive, helpful understanding, and a lot of times it's a matter of helping them look at it from another perspective, and helping them with what they think.
Do you think in general, a positive mental outlook on life keeps you healthier?
Oh, it does. People that are happily married live 5 to 10 years longer. Mm-hmm. And people that have happy, well-regulated lives are much more content and less frustrated and angry. I won't say they're without frustration and anger.
That's just part of life nowadays.
That's part
in the
of
modern
life.
world.
It's just you go out and get in your car and you can tell.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole different thing. The whole road rage thing,
That's right.
So I could see people going to you for a little bit of counseling, perhaps with maybe some anxiety issues.
Right.
Maybe you're in a weight loss program and you've got to get used to because I know Dr. Nation has a nutritionist on staff there as well. And then again, maybe you have chronic pain, and all of that stuff, is up here as well. So
the way we think about it makes a big difference. I think a lot of people have been credited with it, but life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it.
That's right.
And one of the big considerations that we have is reacting to the pain, reacting to the limitations, reacting to the restrictions, really has a big impact on the way people think and believe about themselves. Well, I'm no use anymore, I can't do, and all it takes is 10 minutes of sitting there and saying, well, you can do this, and you can do this, wow, I can do a lot of things, You change their perspective. Instead of looking at what you can't do, it's looking at what you can do. It's not looking at how people react to you, but how you react to them reacting to you.
Bill, we've got to run off to a break because time's always the enemy here. But on the other side of that, I do want to talk about how people react to their circumstances, and what's moderation for me is always the key.
Right.
Yeah, but we'll talk more about that and other things that go on there at Nation's Best Family Healthcare right after your local Waking Up with Don weather. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Bill Kundo from Nation's Best Family Healthcare, and Bill is a mental health counselor. Something we really need on this show, Bill. But thanks for coming in and putting up with us. I feel like I owe you money for therapy time after this, but
I'll send you the bill.
Yeah, I know. I know you will. But, and we joke about it and all, but there are people that are ill, that are sick, that may have physical things wrong with them, that also need to have some sort of counseling to kind of get them used to maybe a physical ailment, condition, or whatever they're going through.
It's very important in the adjustment phase to realize that people have a need to rethink themselves, their body, their conditions. That's one of the things I really like about Dr. Nation. He has a very strong commitment to seeing the whole patient.
Yeah, he's got this whole 360-degree treatment.
Nutrition, massage,
beside all the medical stuff, I mean, that's the whole person.
Everything that is involved in the person's health and well-being. And that's why I'm so excited to be associated with him.
Now, Bill, what's your background? I know you have a military background as well.
Yes, I spent 11 years in the Army as a medic, and then I spent 4 years in the Navy as a naval officer at sea for a long time at sea.
Yeah. and then you became a mental health counselor.
Right.
And what brought that
actually,
on?
I did is I went to seminary to become a chaplain. And I had some medical problems myself and was disqualified. Went into the church and I served churches, and I became a certified pastoral counselor. And in order to do that, I had to do both a mental health degree and a theology degree.
So there is a spiritual dimension to health as well,
very
besides
much.
just
Well,
the
people
psychological.
feel, there's a lot of context in the Bible that equates illness to sin and illness to disfavor. And it affects people's relationship with God. It affects their
relationships with each other too,
and their relationship with other people, family members, friends, neighbors.
If I go to you as a mental health counselor, am I going to get a sermon, or am I
no.
going to get counseling?
No, I leave that up to the client. If they want to talk about spiritual distress, and several of them do, I'm free and willing to go there. If they want to stay strictly on a clinical level and look at
maybe more worldly reasons for your distress, then you're there for that too. And it sounds like you're uniquely qualified to, for lack of a better term, minister these people who may be having some health problems as well. Bill Kundo, we're so out of time, it's not funny. But it's been a fascinating conversation, and I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate you having me. I look forward to coming back.
Yeah, and I'm expecting your bill for the therapy time here. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, and you're welcome back anytime. And we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Dr. Aaron Shores from Spine and Neuro Pain Specialists here in Panama City and up in Chipley too, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
No, geez, Doc, I got this thing in my neck. I feel like I need a massage. Do massages help? Do they actually do anything to these structures where you'll feel better?
Well, massages certainly can help in some situations, and a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times massages are enjoyable and they do provide relief to muscle pain, and certainly have a role in the rehabilitation of patients with different types of pain syndromes. But sometimes I also find patients come to me and say, well, I had a massage, it felt great, but by the time I got home or back to the car, it started wearing off again. And that's something that I hear pretty commonly.
Does that tell you that maybe there's an underlying problem that's a little more than just muscular distress?
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of times when people have massages or do basic treatments for muscle pain and it continues to recur, especially recur quickly, it should always prompt you to think that there's something else deep to the muscle that may be causing a problem, whether it be another joint or a disc or a ligament or something else that's irritating that muscle and causing that muscle tension or spasm to recur.
And what would some of those things be? I mean, and what would that look like, I guess?
Sure. Well, the number one complaint that I hear with that is just recurrent pain. You know, the massage worked for an hour or two and then it came back. So in that instance, usually a good physical exam is needed, but there are some of these joints that we have discussed before, like facet joints, which are these joints down in through here in the low back, the sacroiliac joints, which are some joints here in the spine, also are significant pain generators, and I find a lot, particularly with the facet joints, whether it be in the low back, the mid back, or the neck, once those joints are treated, then you'll find secondarily the muscles will relax on their own. And
these little joints, and you know, when I think joint, I think knee, elbow, knuckle, but these are actually really don't move all that much. They're just kind of up against each other, aren't they?
Well, depending on which part of the spine we're talking about, they do move. In the lower lumbar spine and the low back, these joints are moved with flexion and extension. Where the ones in the neck, they have a little bit more of a rotational or angular movement to them. But these joints can aggravate the muscles. So if you're finding that you're having persistent muscle pain, that massages work well for a short period of time, it might be worth talking to your physician to see if there's something else deeper to the muscle that might be going on there.
Now, massages can actually relieve some pain. I mean, like a deep massage. Have you heard that term?
Sure.
I mean, does that do anything?
Absolutely. Yeah, there are several different massage techniques for the muscles. Deep tissue massage is just one type, and certainly it has a role and can be very effective with some patients. So it's not to say you should never have a massage. Massages are a good quality treatment for certain ailments. But I also just want to point out to folks that if you've had several massages, you know, again, you get good short-term relief but no long-term relief, there may be something other than the muscle that's irritating that muscle that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, and some of those things could be some of these structures that are at the very root of your, of your back there.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, good grief. I mean, it just looks like such a complex machine that there's, you know, the more complex things are, the more things that can go wrong.
Yeah, the spine is definitely a complicated instrument, and that's why it's sometimes frustrating for folks to get their back pain treated. It's a little bit of a process sometimes.
So if you've got back pain and you're going for massages and it doesn't really work for you or wears off, what should people do?
Well, the first thing I would recommend is talk to your physician, and maybe the physician has some advice for you, and if not, maybe you can get a referral to a specialist that have some specialty expertise in treating these kind of conditions and make sure that there's nothing else going on that might need to be treated.
Dr. Aaron Shores, thank you so much for bringing Mr. Bones in and getting us smart on back pain.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I have some very special guests here from the Taunton Family Children's Home out in Weewahitchka. That's a mouthful, let me tell you. But thank you so much. And we've got Diana here and Brian from Taunton Family Children's Home. I think a relative of yours is a neighbor of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and you've been on the show before too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Diana, you have a special relationship with Taunton Family Children's Home, don't you?
I do. David and Abby adopted me at 6 months of age, and that's been my home ever since. So
that's home for you.
Yeah, it's my home.
And it's home for a lot of other kids too.
It has been, yes, sir.
Now, Brian, what's your involvement with Taunton Family Children's Home?
I'm really just
what's your interest in it?
a volunteer, and I serve on the board there. And we're hosting our 5th annual Taunton Family Children's Home fundraiser on May 9th, this coming Saturday.
Well, you know, I had taken a tour years ago, and it seemed like you had a pretty big thing going on there with the gymnasium and all this other stuff. And I suppose since that time, it was probably a decade ago since my last tour, there's been some capital improvements there, hasn't it been?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest is the home. Actually, it burned to the ground and was completely rebuilt.
Oh, no, I
The
didn't.
one that you visited, yes.
Oh, yeah, so that's long gone.
And that kind of prompted Brian and the Lynn Haven United Methodist Men's Church to approach us about doing an event, something to help with rebuilding funds. And it's gone, you know, for the last 5 years. This has been our only annual event that we do. just to help bring in donations and help provide for the rebuilding of the home. We've rebuilt it. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. And now just help with operating expenses.
And now you're trying to help these children. And then if we want to help you help them, how do we do that?
Well, you can come out the day of the event.
Okay,
It's
when is that?
May 9th. It's an all-day event. We have a 5K race starting at 8 a.m. in the morning. And then at 10 o'clock, we have the beach volleyball. We have what's called the Amazing Race, which is you swim, you climb, you go down this water slide, you run, and it's a whole lot of fun. We'll have bouncy houses for kids. We'll have events all day long, food, drinks.
So a lot of activities for the family.
Yeah.
It sounds like a real family event.
It is.
So kids are welcome.
Oh yeah,
right?
of course.
And of course, make a donation or admission. How does all that work?
You can make a donation, or we also have registration for the event. So it's a $20 registration. You get a T-shirt for it, and then you can participate in all the
Do
events
I have
you
to
want.
register in advance, or I had to call or go to a website, or do I just show up?
No, you can register there the day of. We do have a website available. It's tauntonfamilyfestival.com for the Family Festival. Our main website for the home, if you want some more information on that, and we'll link you to the festival page, is tauntonhome.net. And that has all the information about the children's home, and then, like I said, it'll link you to the Family Festival as well. There are forms there. You can print them out and bring them with you or send them in. Several people have already done that, but either way is fine. You can show up and play that day.
So TauntonFamilyFestival.com,
Yes.
and we can get the whole
Yes.
skinny on all that there.
Yes.
And what's the mission of the Taunton Family Children's Home?
Just to provide a place, a home for children in need of a place to stay, a loving, stable environment with their parents. And
And how did it all start? I mean,
with my parents, David and Abby Taunton, back in 1978, they started work on the home and had the idea in their hearts and in their minds. Their vision was to raise 15 to 20 kids themselves.
Wow.
And just have a big family.
And they did that, didn't they?
They did, and it just, the kids kept coming, and so
And you're one of those kids.
I
now.
was one of those
Yeah.
kids, and
And now you're passing it forward.
I am. I'm trying
And
to.
thanks to guys like Brian as well. You know,
We're able to do that.
You're
Yes,
able
sir.
to do that for more and more kids,
Yeah.
and you're going to keep a great tradition alive for a long time. Best of luck to the both of you. Thanks so much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
And it's on May 9th.
Yes, Saturday,
Just
May 9th.
Saturday, May 9th, and it's Taunton
Family Children's Home.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Randy Akins from 5L Fitness. Randy is a trainer out at Tyndall Air Force Base Gym and also at Impact Fitness in Callaway. Now, not only do you physically train people, but you kind of make up diets for people as well, don't you?
Yeah, I give recommendations based off of the client's need, whether it be for fat loss or athletic needs or whatever their goal is.
So you could work out like a maniac, but you're only doing half the job if you're not eating right.
Yeah, I heard an analogy once that was pretty funny. The thing about people working out and not eating right is, you can never outrun your fork.
Yeah.
Right? It makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you eat bad, you're never going to
Yeah.
lose any weight. So
That's true, and that's like just trying to enter a race with a car with no gas in it, and
same
you know.
thing. Yeah, or the wrong kind of gas.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's probably true to
Wow.
form. So
So nutrition is a key component to fitness.
it is.
Now, is there any kind of overarching rule that you can give people? Because a lot of people are crazy about their diet, like natural, it has to be natural. Does that really
and,
make a difference?
It doesn't really matter if it's organic or vegan or gluten-free or whatever.
free-range chicken,
And most people,
and
most
things
people aren't
like that.
allergic to gluten. Most people aren't. They hear it and it's one of those buzzwords. What I try to tell people to do is to come up with a list of foods that they know they shouldn't eat. Like all of this stuff that is absolutely
That's an interesting
bad.
approach.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then not eat it for a month and see if they can see any results or any changes.
See, I'm a big snacker, but I eat all the wrong snacks.
Right.
Particularly in the evening, after dinner, I'll sit there, I'll be watching the news or whatever. Watching Fox, of course, and naturally. And I'll go for like a bag of chips, like something I know I shouldn't eat.
Right. Right.
And I don't even know why we keep it in the house.
And that's the thing, we are so well educated on nutrition just because of the media, just because of all of the things that are thrown in our face every day. But we just don't follow our own advice.
Yeah, you hear people having sweet tooths, where they love candy and stuff like that.
Right.
It's salt for me. Anything salty or spicy, I just love.
Yeah, any of those extremes can be a result of you know, either genetics or just stress or whatever your body craves at
Yeah.
that time.
And then he came out with those sweet and savory Doritos, and that was the end of it all. You know,
Oh, no, like all at once is too much.
I
huh?
just can't pack enough of those into my head. You know,
Too much. It's too much. It's overload.
but too much sodium in your diet's no good either.
Absolutely.
Particularly for your blood pressure and all that.
Right. And you know, some sodium is good, especially if you're athletic, but the normal diet doesn't need that much sodium in it.
You know, back in the olden days, even the military, they would give military members salt tablets if they were out in the field.
Right.
If it was too hot to help them retain water.
Right.
Not
right.
such a good idea nowadays.
Well, the thing about it, the one key thing that you said is retain water. That's what sodium does. It helps to balance your electrolytes and helps your body hold on to water. That's good when it's hot and you're losing it rapidly. But if you're not doing anything active, you don't want to hold on to water because it'll make you gain weight.
Yeah, it'll make you gain weight, and you know all that sodium and stuff will just boost your blood pressure.
Yeah.
Which,
You're basically pickling yourself from the inside.
oh my goodness! Thank you for that disturbing visual, Randy Akins from 5L Fitness. Thank you so much. If people want to get in touch with you, how do we do that?
You can check out my website, www.5lfitness.com, or email me at 5lfitnesspc@gmail.com.
Okay, very good. Randy Akins, thanks so much. 5L Fitness.
Thank you.
Always an interesting conversation. Always fun.
Always good.
We'll see you.